Welcome and thank you for joining us. Episode 10 of the Buffalo Brews podcast. I'm your host, Jason Ettinger. Taking a little different approach to the opening this week because there's a news story that broke within the last few weeks that I'm going to address right up front. Over the past several years, when I have an issue that really gets my goat, for lack of a better term, I always allow myself 24 hours to process it and to decide whether or not this issue is going to bother me 24 hours later. When I created this podcast, I knew everything wouldn't always be sunshine and puppies. There can and will be some downers to things, but I also made it a point to make sure that when those times come up that we talk about them, and then we can leave the negatives behind in favor of the bigger picture and positive growth. And today is one of those days. As you know, one of the facets of the Buffalo Brews podcast highlights the craft beer industry and has been an industry that's been on a constant rise since 2013. Back on May 11th, a Massachusetts brewer by the name of Brienne Allen had posted a question on her Instagram to her fellow women in the industry, and all she simply asked was, "What sexist comments have you experienced?" What Brienne didn't expect was to open a virtual floodgate of thousands of accounts of alleged misogyny, racism, sexual misconduct from breweries all across the country. And these accounts are they have rightly garnered a lot of national attention in the last 2 weeks. You can go online and really search anything in regards to women in the craft beer industry, and you're going to see a flood of news stories that are out there from different sources. The fallout has unseated a lot of prominent players in the industry, and people are certainly listening at this point, and it's bringing much needed attention to a long-standing problem that I wasn't really aware existed to this magnitude. So as an enthusiast, I'm here to not only educate myself, but to become a better ally and lend support where I can. Now, when I look at something like this, I would typically go to facts to learn about the situation where, here you can simply listen to firsthand accounts, and when you do, it's just wow and amazing it's unbelievable what you're really hearing, because it's not just a few comments on that front, it's many, many, many comments on this front. It's well known that these men that have this combination of inflated egos that are fueled by alcohol and just all-out poor character, and they think that their word is God and that they're above everyone that's around them. So while the craft beer industry is surely male-dominated, and according to reports, only about 8% of the craft beer industry in America as of 2019 had women as leaders, I would have never taken it to be a good old boys club, but I'm convinced here we are, regardless. This preconceived notion that boys, quote-unquote, run the world, and we did it first, and we did it better, and I always look at history as the catalyst. Things that appear old-fashioned and give off old-fashioned values couldn't possibly change, right? I look at golf as an example. In 2021, even with the growth of women in the sport of golf, there are still so many traditionalist elitists out there who feel that women have no place in the sport. And what for? Ask them, and you know what they end up saying. You have the old-timers who are old-fashioned, who say it's an all-men's sport. And then you've got the younger generation who will say a lack of skill and she can't hit the ball that far. Well, sorry, Blake, if the woman playing in the foursome ahead of you can't crush a drive 300 yards. But please, just keep sucking on your Coors Light and making a mockery of your own legacy out there on the course. Back to craft beer. And no, this is not directed at everyone, just the self-entitled man's man who exists to talk down on people and feel if you can do no wrong. To those who have zero couth, as my mother used to call it, with zero filter, to have a little decency and respect for anyone that's in their presence. To fine-tune this a little, this goes to the guy who questions a woman in a condescending voice about how they could have possibly become a brewmaster. And by the way, there are very few brewmasters out there to speak of. The term that you're looking for is brewer, but, of course, please keep standing up top your pedestal. To the guy who lacks the perception to be able to take in his surroundings, knowing that every person who works in that brewery is busting their ass for the craft. To the sexist owner who has the balls to tell someone women do not belong in the industry in front of everybody else. Or to the male tap handler who jumps right in on the ciders and the sours without considering for just a second what she might enjoy. Guess what? Know your customer. The boldness of men today is simply baffling. Do you like beer? Oh, here, that looks heavy. Let me carry that for you. Oh, you work here? Oh, what brewer is your boyfriend? These are just some of the countless situations I've read over the last few weeks. I strongly encourage you to go online, like I said, and read about these things for yourself. The articles are aplenty, and the accounts just keep mounting. When you touch the right nerve, you should always be prepared for a backlash that can follow, because just like in these situations, people will take notice and people will be taking action, and others will be taken down as a result. I learned some extremely valuable lessons growing up, and many were taught by my parents to live with tolerance and respect. I learned the value of strong friendships that I carry to this day, and some of my very closest friends know what that means to me. If I had ever treated employees, co-workers, or friendships that I carry to this day the same way as these women are treated, my mother would have rolled over in her grave, and even if she were still with us, she'd have given me a tongue lashing for the ages. So don't ever think that brewing is some sort of good old boys sport out there, because I'll tell you what, and I'll throw one fact into this that I picked up in a reading called Uncorking the Past, The Quest for Wine, Beer, and Other Alcoholic Beverages by Dr. Patrick McGovern. And it reads that the earliest known record of beer, the Hymn of Ninkasi, is dated to ancient Mesopotamia back in 1800 BC. Ninkasi was the Sumerian goddess of brewing, and the hymn not only praises her, but it also provides the recipe to make beer from barley bread and discusses brewing techniques. So this idea that guys have it all figured out and that guys started everything, absolutely not. When I go into a brewery, I do so just like you. It's to drink beer. Maybe sometimes I'll take in some food. What I also like is learning about beer. What's new? What's the differences in A versus B? Your majority of brewers and tap handlers out there are not only insanely knowledgeable, but they want to tell you about it. And why? Because while you're there trying, limited edition X, and they hope you enjoyed enough to come back, not only that they hope that you enjoy your time there, but you spread the word as well. So did you see what I never mentioned there? I never said he, she, man, woman. Why? Because it doesn't matter. This is your place, whether you're a tap handler, a wait staff, brewer, owner, and whether you're a man or a woman makes no damn difference. So I look forward to that experience. Teach me, and let's all have a great experience. For all I know, the brewery I'm in has a female owner and head brewer with a chemical engineering degree and the potential to run circles just about around anybody she ever encounters. But you know what? All I need to know is you love doing what you do as much as I love being there. And look around at your own lives. You're going to be this misogynistic, sexist pain in the ass. Look around at the people in your lives. I'm getting a little heated about this, so I'm starting to stutter over my words, so I'm going to pull it back a little bit here. There's women in every aspect of your lives, your peers, your management, the leadership where you work, your own siblings perhaps, your mother, your wives, the mothers of your children, for God's sake. So when you go to mom's house on Sunday for dinner, I'm sure you're not disrespecting her, you're not dissing her, you're not being misogynistic, you're not being sexist. When you're in your daily lives with your significant others, are you partners, or do you just exist and contribute where and when you want to? So you need to figure out where your place is. Plain and simple, and this comes from my mouth, I have no problem saying this to people, I highly suggest you change your caveman mentality, you ditch the 1950s misogynistic attitude toward women, and get rid of the concept that there's some sort of good old boys club, because there's no damn wonder the majority of out there are single if this is the way you treat people. Now, while I pull this back a little bit, I want to give you something to listen to. Take an opportunity when you get a chance, and I want you to go back in our history of the Buffalo Brews podcast and go back to March 2nd. It'll be labeled as the trailer number 3, and the label on that is titled DLG Curtain Up. So that is the Drink Like a Girl Curtain Up event in the interview that I did with Kelly Guilfoyle. It doesn't take women and interviews with women to show support for women for us to get it. But that is a great interview, and you're looking at somebody with incredible passion and energy out there who's doing great things for women in general, not just in the craft brew industry, but in general. Take a moment, go back and give that interview a listen. And like I said, now that we've got this addressed, we're going to leave the negative behind us and move forward. Thank you for allowing me to be a little bit vitriol tonight. And I close it by simply saying, support women in craft beer, support women, period. Letchworth State Park, renowned as the Grand Canyon of the East, is a 14,427-acre park. It's nearly 17 miles long, and the deep gorge that runs through nearly the center of the park has cliffs that are almost 600 feet high in some spots, and it features 3 very iconic waterfalls as well as a 240-foot-high railroad bridge. With all that Letchworth has to offer, imagine bringing the serenity to life in a different existence through a very wonderful experience. The following that I'm going to read here is a little paraphrase from a spot that aired previously on Channel 7's AM Buffalo. In 1837, John Burroughs wrote, "I go to nature to be soothed, healed, and have the senses put in order." Almost 7 years ago, the Autism Nature Trail of Letchworth State Park began when 3 women came together with an idea. Today, that idea to create a first-of-its-kind experience, a nature and the #1 state park in the country, is becoming a reality, designed as a safe and inclusive destination for those with autism and related disorders. The Autism Nature Trail is a mile-long, self-paced, looped trail that includes 8 stations which address sensory processing and integration needs and which can be enjoyed by visitors of all abilities and ages. The Autism Nature Trail, or as it's to become known as the A.N.T, provides outdoor recreation for families living with developmental disabilities to push boundaries, explore new activities, and develop skills while being a welcoming, unique trail enjoyed by school groups, agencies, and nature lovers. Construction on the privately funded project began in 2020, bringing the place of serenity, inclusivity, and outdoor activity to an underserved but growing population, while others seek to make public places accommodating. The A.N.T at Letchworth State Park is making an accommodating place public. In the month of April, a portion of the sales of the 2021 Trail Pass from the Western New York Beer Trail were donated to support Autism Awareness Month. And this past weekend, Tom Whitmarsh, who's the head of the Western New York Beer Trail, presented a check for $1,261.40 to Letchworth State Park and the Autism Nature Trail. It are funds just like these that help with the building and the maintenance and programming for the life of the trail. For more information, visit autismnaturetrail.org, and there you can donate to the campaign and make a difference for those with autism and related disorders. And we want to congratulate Tom Whitmarsh for his fundraising efforts and that presentation of a wonderful gift to the Autism Nature Trail. The Erie Canal opened in 1825, and it connected the Great Lakes with the Atlantic Ocean by way of the Hudson River. When the plan for the canal was presented, the skeptics never thought it would ever materialize, and they had jokingly referred to it as Clinton's Big Ditch after the then New York State governor who championed the project. But when it was filled with water, the Big Ditch changed Buffalo forever and marked the beginning of more than 196 now years of prosperity for the city of Buffalo. And the Big Ditch remains part of us today. We still embody the spirit of the men who built the canal with their bare hands. As with the prosperity that followed the completion of the canal, Buffalo today is a city reborn, and those who are reshaping the next 196 years of prosperity are the ones who knew Big Ditch beer for a beer that celebrates the roots and serves as a reminder that the Buffalo of the future is being built with the same strength, pride, and ambition that created the Erie Canal nearly 2 centuries ago. Big Ditch was created in 2015, and this past Thursday, my friend Kenzi and I sat down for their 6th anniversary celebration, had a little food, had some drink, and we were able to get a little bit of recording in and want to share some of that with you now. Now, we're at Big Ditch, the 6th anniversary. It's their beer day.
Say that, I have your few.
Yeah, I have two of these. Starting off with the watermelon wit slushy, classic wit Belgian ale with Tito's vodka, pureed fresh watermelon, lime juice, and simple syrup, and a fun little sliced cube, and it's muy delicious.
Yeah. Super good, super light, not overpowering, not overly sweet. This is a fun little one that could be really damaging on a hot summer day.
I agree. We were gonna go with the Berry Vision Sangria slushy, but we were gonna patent that. It wasn't quite ready yet. We're here right at the top.
Oh yeah, it is totally bonkers in here.
It's a tougher.
Just a huge show of support for Big Ditch, coming from a tiny little brewery, little production room, little retail storefront to this huge brewery. So that's really exciting to see where they've been and where they've gone over the last couple of years.
I'm here right at 5 o'clock, and they tell us it's going to be a 20-minute late for a 20-minute wait, and 5 minutes later, she's like, "Yeah, let me take you to your table."
So that worked out really well.
Off to the side, the garage doors are open facing. Is this Ellicott Street ring?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Tapo is going to literally see the little Tapo. I call them the Tapo greenhouses. I cannot imagine being in there today.
No, definitely not.
89 degrees and downtown.
Do not approve.
Learn experimentation of hand-me-down summer shorts. Try on first. Oh, those look really nice. Let me put those in the bag. Time to change at work. Son of an unnamed goat. They don't fit. Yeah. Product of my big old ghetto booty.
Or as my parents have liked to call a lot of this, the pound-demic, because everybody's put on 10 pounds since the whole gimmick. Because everybody's put on 10 pounds since this whole thing started.
Your favorite Big Ditch story, though?
Yes, so I was back in Buffalo, pretty short period of time at this point, just really starting to cut my teeth in the craft beer industry, and this was one Big Ditch, was just a tiny little brewing, doing some keg or growler fills and a little bit of merch, nothing too crazy. I don't even think this was really a thought at the time. And my friend and I had gone out for we'll call it a liquid lunch, and her husband's like, "We need to fill up some growlers on the way home." And my best friend, she's got a little bit of non-existent filter, and the brewmaster was actually working that day filling the growlers, and he was giving us some small samplings to figure out what we were going to get for the adventures of that evening. And she tried the original iteration of Hayburner. So Hayburner's gone through a few little revisions over the years, but the original OG fresh tap Hayburner. And without even flinching, again, remember, liquid lunch before we came, she tells the brewmaster that his Hayburner tastes like the way dirty dishwater smells. Yeah. So, I immediately hid any sort of identifying information on my person as I was still wearing my work badge. I took a half day. I didn't go back to work after this. Kind of hid anything that might identify me as a human and kind of slunk away back into the car. And I was like, I am never, ever, ever going back there. But here I am.
Many, many times. And you came here for the brunch on Sunday.
Yes, I was here for brunch on Sunday, which was awesome. Had a breakfast chimichanga made with locally produced Hanslian's drunken pig sausage, which is amazing.
Hanslian's is a great little family-owned company.
Yes, super good. Did the house-made peach seltzer, which was a fresh peach yuzu seltzer with some fresh vanilla. Super light, super good for brunch. Just enough to feel like you're at brunch, but not enough to make you not functional the rest of the day. So that was really good. Husband had the Nashville chicken and churro. So interesting take on chicken and waffles, except with a spicy Nashville sauce on top of churros. That looked really good. He didn't care.
And then I noticed on their menu tonight, they have Nashville chicken and waffles. So the waffle top with the pickles, the pickled red onions, the fried chicken, and the Nashville maple sauce, and blistered jalapenos.
Well, that sounds painful. Excuse you.
I'll kind of fit in a cursed to having the garage doors open.
Super nice.
You wouldn't have to share. You say, I had it. I didn't have to share with you. So just a little taste of the time that we spent there for the 6th anniversary celebration. Shortly after we cut off that part of the recording, we were doing it in segments. They came out to do some anniversary announcements and some giveaways, and then they cranked the music way up, and the speakers were right above our head. Plus, for copyright reasons, you can't put too much music on. You can as long as you're talking over it, but we would have had to been like very loud and very conscious of our surroundings. So we ended up ordering dinner. Kenzi settled with the well, I shouldn't say settle. It was what she was set on. So she had the cubano grilled cheese with the smoked pulled pork, a homemade pickles. That one's for my son who laughs at my Cuban accent. Sliced ham, Swiss cheese, and a spicy mustard and a toasted sourdough, and that was served with a side of fries. And then I had a pineapple shrimp tacos, which was poached shrimp tacos. We went no bueno on the green cabbage, pineapple, black bean salsa, and cilantro sour cream. But then they ended up putting like a overly generous amount of red onions on it, which I'm trying, people, but the whole onion thing is just not working for me. And then toward the end of mealtime, we wanted to try their, we both had a 5-ouncer of their Tequila Vision, which is a sour-based beer that's aged in tequila barrels, and then they blend that with fresh lime juice and sea salt. So it was a nice little 5.4 ABV. You definitely pick up that tequila casking that they did with it. I would have more of that in the future. I don't think I would have much more than one of those 5-ounce glasses, because that stuff would easily, even as a 5.4 ABV, was kind of whooping on you like a freight train. So but yeah, very hot day in Buffalo. It was a record high of 89 degrees. Meeting up downtown, and obviously you could hear some of the outside noises as the garage doors were open there. And that was my first full-on experience at Big Ditch. I really haven't spent any amount of time there, but definitely looking to go back. I love the atmosphere. I love that Huron-Ellicott Street district down there. It's right down there across the street from Tapo. Parking is a wild ride at times, but definitely a lot of fun to be down in that area. And when back in my days of Uber driving, that was a common place for me to drop folks off. It was always hopping down there, all kinds of things going on with music, and they have great beers that they're always putting out. Follow them on Instagram, and you'll constantly see all the new things that are coming out. So congratulations to Big Ditch on their 6th anniversary, and look to be back there soon, hopefully for that brunch. This weekend is Memorial Day weekend, and while it is considered the official start of summer, it's important to remember what Memorial Day is all about, and that's for honoring and mourning the military personnel who gave the ultimate sacrifice in the performance of their military duties serving for our armed forces. Many people typically, they'll visit cemeteries, they'll visit memorials on Memorial Day to honor those and mourn those who passed while serving. A lot of folks volunteer, and they'll place flags on graves of military personnel's cemeteries throughout the Buffalo area. It is not uncommon to drive by and see many people out and about placing flags on sites and giving them a moment of silence and peace for the work and dedication and their lives that they gave in service of our country. So while it is Memorial Day weekend, it is another reason for us to get out and celebrate and party. It's important to get out, and if you do so, be safe. We want you all back when Tuesday rolls around. So whatever it is that you do, be safe. Enjoy time with your families. Remember why you do this. I myself am going to get away from Buffalo for a few days, and I'm heading out to the Finger Lakes. Gonna hike Watkins Glen State Park. I'll be the guy with the flags on my backpack, hiking up through the gorge, and then take in a few things podcast related, some beer and wine tasting, take in some food, and enjoy a little quiet time here and there. So make sure that you're safe. Let's see you back on Tuesday when this next episode drops. You can, over the course of the weekend, follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. There will be there'll be plenty of story drops, but there are going to be a few lives that we do as well. And while away, I'm going to actually be doing some podcast recordings in the evenings after things wind down so that we have a great episode that we pitch to you fresh off the presses come on Tuesday on June 1st. And that'll be our 11th episode, and we hope that you join us then. Now, if you're going to be around the Buffalo area over the Memorial Day weekend, I have a suggestion for you. Head up to the Rustic Buffalo Outdoor Artesian Market. Now, you want to get there. It's Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 4. They're located at 6610 Shawnee Road up in North Tonawanda. Now, why am I telling you this? So I'm calling my shot here, and I'm going to tell you about an interview that is going to drop officially on June 8th. And that is an interview I did. I sat down with John, who is one of the owners of Rustic Buffalo, and we're going to talk about their business and how they came up from their roots to where they are now. So I had an opportunity to do the interview. I went out this past Saturday and stopped by while they were having their outdoor artesian market. John was literally out there emceeing that event, and there were so many people on hand enjoying everything that they had to offer. People in the store, people in the artesian market outside. They have over 110 vendors on station, and you will find something for everybody. So if you have a gift that you're shopping for, if you want to get time away from the guys, ladies, and go do something while the guys are sitting in the driveway talking about how they made good time visiting for the Memorial Day weekend, grab your girlfriends and head up to the Rustic Buffalo Outdoor Artesian Market. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us for this week's episode of the Buffalo Brews Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, as you do each and every week. Go on to your favorite podcast platform, hit that subscribe button so that when our new episodes drop, you'll get them instantly. Our social media is going to be picking up this weekend, like I said, so make sure you're following us both on Facebook and Instagram, and make sure you check out our stories and watch for those lives as they happen this weekend. Drop some comments, give us some feedback if you see us online this weekend. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, make sure you go out there with much peace and love, and to always remember to make your own path. And a word of advice: if history repeats itself, I am so getting a dinosaur. As my father would say, if we don't see you in the sooner, we'll see you in the pasture. So long.